What are you going to do to these poor girls?
I'm so glad he got that.
Are you kidding me?
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Prestige Living Podcast. So with that, who do you want to be?
Hello, welcome to Prestige Living, your local podcast that delivers the stories of the entrepreneurs right here in your backyard. I'm your host, Jay O'Brien, here with your co-hosts, Jordan Wilson.
Yes.
And Amy O'Brien.
Hey!
Hi. Today, our guest has built businesses through having fun, starting with his company T.E.A.M, designed to facilitate vacations for college students across the country, and now owning and operating his new business, Newport Yacht Rental. We've been fortunate enough to be customers of his in the past and are lucky to have him on the show. Without further ado, I give you Mike Olivas. Mike, welcome to the show, man.
Hey guys, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here.
So let's start from the beginning. Like, at what point, at what age did you start your own business?
At the age of 26 is when I believe the inception of T.E.A.M kind of came on, about 2004, 2005. Make myself sound pretty young. So anyways, 2004, 2005, I was in the kind of the hospitality group travel industry for years, entertainment. Took all those experiences and created T.E.A.M.
So T.E.A.M is an acronym, yes?
Yes.
What does that stand for?
It stands for Travel, Entertainment, and Marketing.
Okay.
So what we do is mainly group travel across North America. Initially, it was mainly kind of lifestyle into the West Coast, SoCal, NorCal, Arizona area, and then kind of scaled it.
So to those who are unfamiliar with this idea, before we get into how it began, what does T.E.A.M do and how does the whole thing work?
If I had to give you an elevator pitch, the best way to do is we throw fraternity and sorority parties across the country. I mean, it's really simple. We kind of are the nonstop shop, college concierge, if you will, for any fraternity and sorority group event that wants to do a college formal, a banquet, a weekender. Now we do other events as well in terms of the specifics of the organizations as far as colleges go, like different organizations and clubs. But our niche is the Greek world because that's kind of where my background came from, and we're going to continue to stick to that.
Okay, so it is very much a college-centric thing.
Yeah, T.E.A.M is definitely college-centric. We've had marketing clients as well, with like apps, et cetera, that we've been able to market with through our rep programs on campuses. Something called the TCM program, that's like a T.E.A.M chapter, a T.E.A.M campus manager. We pay student reps that are influenced. I mean, I always say we're in the business of influence. We go and find those that are influenced. People don't really give a shit of who Brad Pitt is on campus, okay? They want to know who the hot chick is on campus and the stud is on campus. We find those people and ensure that they're either rocking our product or making sure they're rocking letting people know about our service.
That's a really interesting point. There's a lot of big influencers and people that I admire and respect, such as like Gary Vaynerchuk, Tim Ferriss, and these guys often talk about how powerful the right influencer is, because you're right. If you throw a Brad Pitt or an A-list celebrity in the wrong environment, no one is going to give a shit. It has to be someone that makes sense in that field and actually has some weight. So if like a bachelor party called you or something like that, that's a no-go. That's something that you don't do.
Initially we did. Like when I first started the company, I mean, I was taking anything that knocked on the door, of course, the whole top ramen time. But at that point, I realized in terms of scaling, in business, it's first, better, or different, and found a niche and found a way to be first. Now trying to be better because there are competitors starting to come into the marketplace and or different, So trying to do things like mansion parties in Vegas versus doing your suite parties that people are used to, even though suite parties are very cool, we still got to do something a little bit outside the box versus like, okay, everyone's doing the suite party in Vegas or the Hefner suite or the Caesars, Absolute suite. I found a way of getting exclusive with a mansion, for example, and said, let's start doing parties here. So it's always trying to run up yourself and one up your game. And sometimes that's tough, but that's the name of the game when it comes to these students who kind of expect the world.
Mike, so T.E.A.M handles everything from like the travel to the lodging to all that stuff to like activities that they're doing also? Or?
Yeah, from the travel, from A to Z. So they'll come in and they'll say, hey, listen, we have 250 people that want to go to New Orleans, and we create the budget all the way down to per person. So we created the first technology called formalbuilder.com. And that,
formalbuilder.com?
Formalbuilder.com, right, and that's kind of in a testing stage right now, but it's beta. But it allows people for the first time to see a per person price for any one of these groups across North America for any hotel across the country. We partner with Expedia. We give them a simple rate saying, here's what it it is, here's the cost of it, and just go have some good times. And that's the way that they break it down anyway. So we kind of mimic the way that they already plan these events through technology and allowed them to say, okay, well, yes or no. They can even vote through Facebook, they can vote through Twitter and Google and all that kind of jazz, and we just want to make it very simple for them. But even then, of course, it's very high touch. We're kind of Smurf market really for the team side, and so it really becomes a where do you want to go? Well, sometimes, you know, a 19 or 20-year-old doesn't know what the fuck he wants, honestly, and it's like, where the hell do I want to go? And so we kind of just break that down a little bit, like, listen, you guys probably want to go here because it's very close to NOLA, or you probably want to go to Myrtle Beach, or you're on the West Coast, you're going to Vegas, right? And so that is kind of, we're kind of educators at the same time in terms of travel, because someone can say, where am I going on my honeymoon? And they just start Googling. So we kind of allow them to filter into a simple, larger destination area that we know that everyone's going to anyways.
So during the initial phases, like the R&D and market research phase in this, were you guys able to justify these expenses by traveling yourself and look around and say, hey, we need to be able to provide adequate recommendations, so looks like we need to go to the Bahamas for a week or whatever. Like, how did that work? Because in reality, like, if I were starting a business like that and people were like needed recommendations for places I'd never been, other than just theory and research online, like, I wouldn't be able to speak to it firsthand.
Right. A lot of it, initially, yes. I mean, I wish it was the Bahamas. All this stuff is pretty domestic. I mean, college students are kind of hanging out wherever the hell they can, you know, and they're taking buses and throwing kegs on them if they have to, and just trying to do it on a budget. And that's kind of what I just got from a undergraduate standpoint in a fraternity, and also kind of working for my national fraternity for years, understanding that at the end of the day, you know, price is going to win, but there's a relationship piece to it. So initially, building the brand was me wrapping a Chevy Tahoe with T.E.A.M all over it and just jumping on the West Coast and just driving, knocking on doors, having fun. Hey, dude, who throws your parties? Cool, Jason does. Well, Jason, I can throw your parties for you for free and make this a great, and we create a rebate through hotels and all these different banquets and stuff. So that's kind of the model of it. Now, at the end of the day, you know, it was a few different trips here, like the Palm Springs, the San Diego's. I did it in NorCal. I went to Sacramento State, so I did a lot of, like, you know, some Stanfords and some of the Davises and the Chicos out to Reno and Tahoe. But, you know, I really launched at the age of 30. I went home and I left Newport Beach and moved home with mom and dad, which wasn't a really cool way to talk to the chicks about. But, you know, it really kind of made me put my back against the wall to make sure I made it happen. So in a matter of 11 months, I was back, and I spent 13 weekends in Las Vegas. Bringing about 5,000 college students there on about 6 different weekends, but 13 weekends in a row, setting up, going, having a trip, setting up, having a trip, having buses come in, and that was a one-man show. But at the end of the day, that's what allowed me to springboard this thing into an actual legitimate company, and it was kind of moving home with mom and dad to do it. So
when you initially started, was it like you're knocking on doors of Caesar's Palace or whatever, figuratively speaking, of course, and say, hey, I'm gonna guarantee occupancy for X amount of people, you know, negotiate a rebate in that regard? I mean, how does that work? Yeah, you kind of I had to learn the event planning world. I never planned an event like in terms of those sizes before, so sometimes it just, I think Branson says it best, sell it and figure it out. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of what we do. The same thing with the yacht side of things. It was just like, figure it out. You know, when you have your back against the wall and you're the one doing it, you got to figure it out. So there's the hospitality side and the event planning world was good to understand, but it was how do we scale it and do it all across the country? How do we do it from a desk like, you know, you and I are behind now, and being able to say, okay, how do I get these events in? How do I quote them quickly? And then how do I close them quickly? It's all sales and marketing side. So we finally became the, you know, and we always reinvent. We're honestly, any business, of course, is reinventing. So processes, CRMs, technology, but it's been a fun process, and right now I think, you know, it's just really trying to understand how to do more and more events at a lower price, because, you know, price is going to keep winning the game. So right now I would imagine like that demographic is pretty difficult to work with, no? Like 19, 20-year-olds, I mean, that's got to be a nightmare. So like collecting payment, for example, obviously you're not, you know, rendering services without payment, right? Right. But at the same time, if the payment is dependent upon them actually going and executing, like how does that work? Is it like, you know, at the point of sale when they book a hotel or whatever, you're getting paid, or you don't get paid until the whole thing's over? I mean, How does it work?
Yeah, they put a deposit down. You know, it's a very minimal deposit. You go to a hotel, they're going to ask for like 50% up front. If you're getting married, they're going to be like, hey, I got 200 people coming or 100 people coming, and it's a $30,000 wedding. They're going to ask for $15K to lock that in, lock that room block in, all that jazz. Damn. So yeah, it's pretty rough. So we're able to negotiate that down to like $2,000 across the board. So it could be a $60,000 event, which we've had sometimes. Believe like you can imagine USC. There's some fraternities in Pepperdine that take like a private jet to Vegas. So it's wild how, I mean, this is a $2.5 billion industry, and we're the first to market. Now at the end of the day, it's scaling it. It's kind of becoming automated. The vision here is becoming the Expedia of fraternity and sorority formals and weekenders and the way that they plan things. Now, in terms of payment, yes, we take an initial payment and then we take a final payment. Some new tech that we're launching out will allow them to split their payments and simply send a link through text message, Facebook message, all that jazz, just to pay their portion, whether it's through Square or iPay or whatever it might be. We're going to start tapping into this and make it more convenient for these guys, because just like if any of us wanted to go to Vegas and there's 20 of us, it's like, I'm just going to find my room, you're going to find your room, right. No one knows where the hell everybody's staying. It's like, here's a package, here it is, split the payment, and go. The whole idea is the experience, not the process.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
So when you're exploring that, like to be the Expedia of that world, is that something you've already started? Do you have any idea who would like take care of the back end programming for such like a huge, arduous task? I mean, it's so different than just putting something together and having it split. I mean, when it's actually automated to that extent, yeah, it's pretty robust.
It is. And it took, my first tech was teamexp.com, which is our main site and kind of the umbrella of the 4 brands that are Formal Builder, Greeks365.com, VegasFormals.com, and then of course the Team EXP world. And Formal Builder, is the phase 2 of it. Now, so 3 years ago when we did it, we grew 138%, like fast. Now, what I did wrong is good to hear sometimes about what we did right. And what we do wrong is what we got to learn from. So I fell on my face from the tech world, meaning I understood that not everybody wants what I think they want. It's market testing, it's A/B testing. What the hell do you want? Right. And it's like, we want simplicity, man. And everybody, and especially when you're dealing with demographic that are the millennials. We're all millennials in this world, but like in this desk here, but in this room, but really the millennials, these guys grew up with tech. They grew up swiping. They grew up, sadly not grow up Tindering, because that'd be weird, but they're Tindering now, So it's like at some day, I'm probably going to have to say like formal option, Myrtle Beach, swipe left, NOLA, swipe right. So you got to look ahead. And so what I did wrong was scaled it, showed pricing initially, and in reality, it's still a high-touch market. We're never going to get out of customer service in this world, because this one kid, or this gal, not to say kid, it dates me, but like at the age of 20, 21, is doing a $50,000 event. And he's on the hook for all of his best friends that he probably lives with in the fraternity house or sorority house, and he was pretty much labeled like, you're the social chair, you're the vice president of programming, you do it. So a lot's on his plate, and so we help him a lot. And again, these students are just as busy as anybody else, so it's a convenience sell, but the technology side will never change the business in terms of making it better. I think it's just continuously trying to fall on your face and grow from that. But the first part, the Expedia part, like you mentioned, is our goal is to try to continue to get as much as automated as we can, but still have that concierge feeling where you're like, listen, here's what you're doing, here's where you're going, here's when the bus picks up.
Got it.
Yeah.
So Mike, tell us, of all the parties and trips that your team has hosted, what is one of the craziest stories that you've experienced or heard of? Oh man,
I would like to say it was one of the guys. It was a Pike. It's a Pi Kappa Alpha, which is one of the large fraternities out there. I'm not going to say which campus, but one of the chapters came out to Vegas, and one of my first, I was like I said, 13 weekends, we had a ton of events, so I was kind of going around shaking hands, kissing babies, high-fiving everybody, trying to have fun with people to try to keep that relationship alive. And we're all in suit and ties. These are formal events, which ends up being pretty much ties around people's heads, running around and just dancing. So you can imagine sorority guys and sorority, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. Sorority girls and fraternity guys going nuts in a suite back when we didn't have all these rules and regulations that we do now in Vegas, but they're just going nuts. And I remember there's a good story, a couple stories here, but one of the guys wanted to be a rep? He's like, dude, I want to be a rep for your company, etc. And I'm sitting there with a handle in my hand because I was at the Real World Suite, and they all left the Real World Suite, and they went over to the Hefner Suite because that's where their party was. I was like, hey, they gave me the Real World Suite. Palms always hook me up, and they still always treat me well still. But I go there, and they give me the Real World Suite, and I go, hey, everybody come party here. Like, I have this big room to myself. Like, come hang out here. So they pre-partied there, and took all of my booze, which is fine, but they took all the booze and left like this one handle of Captain. So I just walked, after they all left my place and looked like shit, I grabbed my the handle and walked over there, and this guy's like, dude, I want to be a rep. And I go, yeah, dude, for sure, no problem. He's kind of giving me all of his resume and his background, telling me how cool he was, and that's fine. But he's just, I go, dude, hey, do you want to pool? And he looked at me straight in the eye, and he put his hand on my shoulder, and he's like, Mike, more than anything I've ever wanted in my life. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I was like, this is really what you want, the most thing in there? And he just put his hand on my shoulder like he was so sincere about it. So anyways, he just took a pull, and 5 seconds later, he jumps inside of the hot tub that's on the balcony of this place at the Hefner Suite, and in his suit and tie. And I just said, fuck it. I just jumped in with him. All of us just in their suit and tie, and then everyone's pretty much naked at that point, going nuts. But yeah,
Vegas.
I mean, it was
about right.
It was Vegas, and these guys, they definitely live it big, and a lot of them would say, like, Mike, we hate you and we love you, and they hate you because it's like our company's bringing us an experience in Vegas like we've never had before, and most likely 40-year-olds should experience a $30,000 a night kind of suite like that, but collectively they could do it with all their budget and stuff. But he said, we hate you because we're probably never going to be able to do something like this again this way. Now Vegas, you ruined Vegas for us.
And we're going to be hungover as shit tomorrow.
Oh yeah, they're not in good shape the next day. But they rally. They're young and vibrant.
So how many employees do you have?
Right now we have 4. We have some on the road. Finally, this is the first year we're putting people on the road. 4 that are, I would say, full-time. We have several contractors that are out there. We have several reps, hundreds of reps that are out there across the country. And we have a whole entire development team in India working on our development. So to answer your question, who does the coding? I've done the mapping. So I've kind of been somewhat the CTO, and I always say initially you're the chief everything officer, not the CEO by any means.
Right.
And so I've created the mapping initially. And for phase 2, I might bring on a CTO or a CIO to kind of help with that, but I'm still kind of puppet playing the actual, I don't write any code by any means. I just say, it's the vision, and the people, our group in India, knock it out for us, our developers.
So when you mention hundreds of reps, what's the difference between a rep and an employee? Mm-hmm. Are reps like independent contractors?
Yes, exactly. A rep is an independent contractor, a student on campus, who we actually pay monthly to go out there and tell them everybody what we do, how we do it, and really utilize that influence, because it's the relationship piece. It's kind of like thinking about the real estate world, but not only knowing one market and one specific market, how do we get reps across the country, like your company that has that brand but goes across the country and spreads it in different markets, right? Mm-hmm. Very similar. So we spread that way by being able to use historical data and get the numbers together.
Very interesting. Mm-hmm. What do you got, Jordan? I
was going to ask Mike to tell us, because I did a Google search, and it said that you were nominated 2 years in a row for Orange County Business Journal Excellence in Entrepreneurship Award.
Yeah.
Wow,
Talk about that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Awesome.
Thanks. Maybe I'll win it one day. But it's
no. Sorry, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
no, it's seriously pretty cool to be nominated, just because I'm in that room and these guys are there's some studs in there, man. Not necessarily, we're not Silicon Valley by any means, but we got a lot of big hospitality people in there. Some people from the Los Angeles market were in there as well. But I think one of the big restaurant owners won it recently, that owned 100 plus chains, but was from Orange County.
And there's a speaking tour. Did I read correctly too?
Yeah. I'm becoming a speaker on university campuses. That's a new launch. So it's kind of the third business, but it's a business based around me and my experiences. So I got an agency that's going to help put me in front of university students, undergraduates, why to get involved, how to get involved. There's a book that's going to be coming out with that. That's called either Greek Life to Real Life or College Life to Real Life. Still kind of focusing on that niche demographic that I've been able to work with across the country, and kind of pushing also some of my services to possibly some of the the national brands out there, like large brands at Apple, for example, or Pepsi, whoever. They have reps on campuses. It's how do we really interact and get in touch with these undergraduates? So understanding the marketing side and being able to do an online business for years, using that expertise and trying to kind of help others do it.
So let's rewind a little bit. Let's segue. How do you go from the first business to the second business, the Newport Yacht Rental? Because I think that's how, at least I mean, last time Jay saw you, he had his top 4 buttons of his white shirt undone.
Yeah, really hot, bro.
I had a feeling that was going to come up today.
Yeah, you still have that tan.
I just knew it.
4 buttons. The top 4 buttons.
DV. So deep.
Talk to us about this yacht.
For a special young co-host's birthday party, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
That's right. No, the yacht was, it kind of didn't fall in my lap. I've been searching. It's like, everyone says sometimes you kind of set your goals somewhere, and you kind of keep looking at it, and 10 years later, sometimes it happens. And
your affirmations.
Yeah, thank you. And I kind of continue to I was just always browsing on yachtworld.com. I just always loved the boat world, but only have a Duffy. And at the same time, I've done the wakeboarding stuff, and my brother-in-law has a cool boat, and we would do that. But houseboats were one of my favorite events, and I just always liked the water, and being out there. So I was kind of shopping around, and the Kayla Lynn, the yacht that I bought, was simply available in Newport Beach. I just went and took a look at it real quick. I actually knew where it was. It was right in front of American Junkie, and it was there for 15 years. So I just went and took a look at it, and a month later I bought it, and it was like, okay, I can't just sit on this mortgage, right? I got to make a business out of it. So it was one of those situations where to answer your question, turn into a business prior, it's almost like you learn one business and you fall on your face for 8 years, right? And you understand it. And before even the first week, that one was profitable. And it's just that learning process, I think, and that learning curve of what do I need? It's like the marketing, the CRM, the processes, the sales, how do I fill in the gaps? And then getting people to do it, and then showing them how to do it, but doing it yourself first. Really just grinding it yourself and figuring it out, and then saying, here are the processes now. And so that was the yacht business, man, and it's in a nutshell. That I bought the website and the URL and had it up and running before I even signed the paperwork to own it, because I knew that I did not want to pay, a mortgage pretty much to be on the water. I thought it was God's water. To be on the water and just sit there and not have any money coming in. So the revenues started pushing, and now we do a lot of birthday parties. It's mainly birthday parties. I love them because I like to go out and have fun with them too. I won't do anything unless it's fun. But then there's also a business piece to it that, we even do anything from a whole different, 180-degree angle from scattering of ashes. Right, and then there's also, I don't do those because they'll probably end up all over me. But it's fun, man. It's a cool venture. It's different though. We've been kind of bringing more and more different. Billabong just came on it a couple of months ago, and just using some of my network, which has been great. But a lot of it right now, we had a small wedding on it last Saturday, so it's hit or miss, but mainly birthdays have been the top dog there.
So you think you're booking it almost every weekend at this point? Is it at that level? Yeah,
we're at that level. We're about to throw out the Groupon in as of next Wednesday. We have Wine Wednesday, and we have a sommelier coming out to do wine tasting and let people know what's up. It's $79 for 2 people. It's the next thing closest to that would be a Groupon for $69 for a little small, and I'm not going to rag on it, but there's a small sailboat. Have 3 or 4 people on it. Right. And do wine and cheese, more intimate. But this is you have bathrooms, and you have TVs if you want to watch sports or whatever. So we will be able to, I think, compete in the Groupon world, but also just brand the boat a little bit. A lot of people might have birthdays coming up, anniversaries coming up, renewals of vows, if you will. So anything is an option. We're kind of becoming from the team world where I'm negotiating with venues across the country. Now I am the venue, so it's a little bit different side, but it's cool.
How do you split your time now between those two, or between soon to be 3?
I don't. Honestly, I just stay up later. I think right now at least.
What's your morning routine like?
Workout. It's not really GTL, but it's it's workout. Go to the office, and then kind of have oversee my vice president of sales inside of he's in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I chat with him often, usually right in the morning. Then we have a sales call with my team that's out there, and kind of see what's going on, numbers, try to help out. And then I really do a lot of my time is the online marketing world. It's just getting people in. I don't do SEO. I do more of the advertising online, and then just knocking on doors, using the relationship, sending some text messages out. Does anybody need the yacht for anything soon? And I just hired this full-time sales guy that used to do these really big high-end boutique hotel weddings in Laguna, and he's my full-time sales guy for the yacht now. His name's Kyle Phelps. He's awesome, and he's just kind of rallying with just understanding all these cool different ideas of what to put on the yacht. So Wine Wednesday, then Friday nights we're also doing a just $79 tour. Just go party, selling drinks, and kind of turn into a bar on the water.
So it sounds like you're getting to a point now where you got the right people in place on your team where you can kind of delegate things out and kind of let them
That's right. That's
care of
right. It's
business.
people first. It's trying to find the right people first, and sometimes it's not that they're the right person, not the right person or right fit for that specific job. And I've been through several.
Yeah, we've heard that before. Like a lot of people have come in and said, finding the right people to work under you that share your vision is kind of one of the tougher things when you start your own business.
It is.
So do you need a liquor license for the boat?
You do.
Yeah.
You do. It's not nearly as it's not like a $50,000 or $100,000 license.
Okay.
Luckily, because that wouldn't work. But it's a simple process, and
it's almost even better though, because if it's a minimal expense and they're on the boat and like
margin's the same.
Right. Margin's the same.
Yeah.
You're able to charge, and you don't have. There's granted quite a bit of overhead, not the boat itself, but the maintenance and all that. But it's not a brick and mortar where you have all this capital and all these overhead expenses. It's got to be a pretty good gap
liquor
of
license are
margin.
usually no joke. You're right. It's like you got to serve a specific amount of food.
Right.
Yes.
25% is what time, right? And it's like Sharkies. Do you think they give a shit about their tacos and quesadillas? Let's be realistic. No, they do it because they have to.
Right.
And I worked for Bacardi for years, and Bacardi USA in the same process. Luckily, that world has allowed me to kind of understand that liquor market, the margin. If I didn't have to spend day and night at a bar or club, I'd probably open one. But I don't want the lifestyle. You kind of build a life you want to live, And so at the end of the day, I just don't want to be there all day.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny now. I think those people that used to pop bottles in the clubs are now the ones throwing parties on the yacht. Which is great. Hey, you know what? I'm a little bit too old.
Me?
Yeah. She's like, I just want to throw a party on the yacht. I don't want to go to Sutra.
Actually, that's what I was gonna say. I'm sure anybody that's friends with me on Instagram or Facebook knows what an awesome and fun time we had on my birthday.
Yeah,
but for people
fun.
Listening that might be having an upcoming event, maybe this event sounds a little bit too far out of their reach.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk about the actual experience of what they would, what it includes, what the experience would be like.
Yeah.
And a little bit about what that looks like.
Sure. Yeah. I'm a big fan of let's say in and out pricing, right? The simplicity of it, less is more, and it's just the same thing. It's a simple flat rate. It's $750 an hour, and we do a 2 to 4 hour minimum depending on the weekday or weekend. So 2 hour weekday, 4 hour minimum for the weekends. But we also, it's like there's only 2 other boats. Before I did my research first, of course. There's only 2 other boats like ours in the peninsula. And my boat really happens to be a very large, let's say it's a 72-foot yacht, but it still has more square footage than some of these 100-foot boats, which is why I bought it. It's built for entertaining, as you know. People can party upstairs with a DJ as well as go downstairs in the bar, and there's there's 2 different restrooms. It flows very well. So what I try to do is we upsell the experience versus the price. Now, if somebody has an issue with the price, I work with them. I really do. It's not like it's, and that's the beauty about being able to do so and having lower overhead than some of the other yacht companies in Newport. There's only 2 that are our size that have our same Coast Guard inspected number of what they can put on there. But whether it's a small intimate wedding, take it. You want it for the entire day, whatever. That's fine. So we're open to it. And so the experience piece is really what it really includes is the deckhand, the captain, the bartender. I'm one of the only yachts that allows people to bring on their own booze and alcohol and also food and stuff.
Right.
Even though we're going to start selling it legally, we have to still serve it, but we're still going to start selling it and all that kind of stuff. When we'll probably get it next week. And luckily it has not been that long of a process. It was seriously like, when's it coming? They're like, next week. I was like, there's no other questions. That's it. I can sell booze now. So that's pretty awesome.
Cool.
So I want to find out a little bit about casinos and how
That'd be sick, a casino night.
house odds, right? That's where the money is, man.
House odds.
Yeah, dude, you get house odds. I don't care if I just got to go out in the middle of the ocean and then just open it up.
International waters.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Cruise
because
ships
of the
do it, right?
implication.
Because of the implication, yeah.
It's the implications.
It's
I
the
love
implication.
that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? What are you
so
doing, these poor girls?
I'm so glad he got that.
Are you kidding me? It's so
Apparently,
funny.
I'm the only one lost here.
Because of the implication.
Look at these poor women.
So they are in danger.
Yeah, so they are specifically in danger then.
That was the best thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You caught that.
Oh man.
Cool. So let's wrap up with some plugs here. So if people, the people who are listening to this right now, would you suggest the people in the college world that are going to go the team route? Is it teamexp.com? That's the site they should go to.
Yeah, you can go to teamexp.com. I would check out formalbuilder.com because they're going to really get some quick quotes
formalbuilder.com.
You got it.
And then you're on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter.
Absolutely.
Those handles.
All
same
those
thing?
handles are Formal Builder. Yeah, we're kind of really
Formal
pushing
Builder.
the Formal Builder brand, as that's going to be our long term.
So that's on the team side. And then when it comes to Newport Yacht Rental, what's the best way to get in contact with you to book an event?
You can go to newportyachtrental.com. You can call 949-274-8517. That's Kyle's phone number directly to the office, and he's just nonstop. You can go to the website and chat with us. We're always online usually, and if he's not online there, he's on his phone app, always online, not making sure that we lose one skip, because we know that there's options out there, and there's a couple other options, but I'm consistently upgrading that thing. It's a lot of fun. It's a money pit sometimes, but it's been a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much, Mike, for being on the show. We really appreciate it. This has been awesome.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Yeah, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
If you would like to be on the Prestige Living podcast or know someone that would be a great guest, go to www.prestigelivingpodcast.com. We'd love to hear your story.